Come on, BTC.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. Today is the 8th of October, 2024. October, we have been promised, and I think it's failed to deliver so far today. We've got a lot to get through. We're going to go through the X-Files as always. The markets, we'll have a look at them. We're going to have a look at some ETH news, some Solana news, Cardano. We're going to look at Epic Meta. What is that all about? We're then going to look at Luna, and we're going to look at algorithmic stablecoins. What are they and why they are a little bit of an issue, should we say? Why they've got a bad reputation, and why personally I wouldn't invest in any algorithmic stablecoin or put any funds into an algorithmic stablecoin. They need to be fiat backed. They're not quite right. A few good mornings then. Kishan, Hidden Agendas. Mags is in chat. Good morning to you all. It is quiet and I do not know why. The last few days, this week, it's been completely dead. Most of social media, a lot of the posts that we put out on X are at 50%. A lot of the streams that we did yesterday are at 50%. And this is across all the different platforms. I think people are just so bored of $62, $64, $66,000. There's boredom, there's no hype, there's no involvement. They've just given up. And to be honest, who can blame them? However, you are here and I am always going to be here. So as well as that, don't forget to hit the like button, say hello in chat. It helps the algorithm, helps them understand that we are real and we are not streaming to ourselves. Bottom left-hand corner, we did break 175,000 followers. So what are we now? 24,500 followers away from 200,000. And the deadline we have set ourselves is the end of 2024. Going into the bull run with more than 200,000 followers would be absolutely amazing. So let's see if we can do that. Good morning, Eugene. I think I've said good morning to Kishan as well. I hope you are all well. I'm just keeping an eye on chat. Good morning, Danny. Right then, let's get on, have a quick look at the markets. Bitcoin has retraced a whole 2% to $62,340. I'm going to show you why that's quite a key figure. I looked at the Bitcoin chart today. I don't normally look at the charts before we go live, but I looked at the Bitcoin chart And I said yesterday we needed to hold 63,000, and we didn't. And even that was the poll question of the day yesterday. The poll question of the day today is, are we going to go to $59,000? I don't think so, but let's get into it. So Bitcoin coming in at 62.3, ETH still at 24, BNB 563, Solana 142. So we've seen profit taking, we've seen a retracement, but we've retraced to a very interesting number, and that's what we're going to show you in a minute. Now then, gainers, not many up in the last 24 hours, as you would expect. Eigenlayer, Phantom, Sui. Sui is still over $2, a really good price. I don't know where I'm going to sell my Sui, but given that everybody is saying buy, I think we're getting close. I mean, we're at 1.6 billion for Sui. Where is it going to go? 4, 5 billion, 10 billion? Are we going to see another 6x from here? I'm not sure. Lots of people are saying $10. Lots of people are saying $5. That's normally an indication that it's going to be way below that. Maybe $2.25 gets tested again. Maybe gets to $2.50. I'm not sure. Aptos is up. Tron is up a touch. And I'm expecting Popcat is down. Pepe, FTX, Dog with Hat Beam. Remember yesterday, all of the meme coins were pumping. Today, all of the meme coins are dumping. To be expected. Casper is down a little bit. Ondo at 69 cents, I think, is an absolute bargain. There is a thing with Ondo. It seems to be stuck at the $1 billion market cap. It goes slightly above, but the majority of the time it's around 900, 890, 910, and it seems to be stuck at the $1 billion mark. I think when that breaks out, it's going to break out spectacularly. Bonk is down. Pyth, I made a Pyth video yesterday. So those of you that haven't seen it, Pyth has introduced staking, OIS, which is where you can stake your Pyth and you can help to secure the reporting channels, the publishers. It's paying about 8 to 10% at the minute. So you go along with your Pyth, you stake it. If you stake 100 Pyth, you should get between 8 to 10 per year for free. Now, if you are in a certain country where you are not allowed to use Pyth, that is perfectly fine. Some countries are not allowed to go and stake, namely America. However, and this is not in any way connected to the Pyth network and Pyth staking, if you are on crypto, in crypto, have anything to do with crypto, you should be using a VPN anyway to protect yourselves. And we'll leave it at that. Stacks is down, Wormhole. There's lots of losers. Market cap, still 2.16 trillion, solid. Volume still coming in, 80 billion, 60 billion, 50 billion. Again, it's neither here nor there at the minute. Bitcoin dominance, ETH dominance hasn't changed. So it's as you were. We've had a retracement. I am going to show you, when we look at the Bitcoin chart, why I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Remember, when we're going up, I try and temper your enthusiasm. When we retrace, I try and give you the, not necessarily the optimism, but the reasons why you shouldn't be overly emotional in any direction. When we get to the end of the bull run and you're cashing out, that is when you can celebrate. October, November next year, when you cash in and you've turned your $1,000 into $10,000 or your $500 into $6,000. When the money hits your bank account, that is when you celebrate. You do not celebrate now. You do not celebrate next week or the week after. The majority of portfolios, they see 2/3, 3/4 of the gains in the last 3 or 4 months of the bull run. Now, if we say October, that means maybe July, August, September, and October is when you should start to see your gains. We are in October, the year before, so we have 8 months potentially before we start to see the real gains. So if you've got in at June lows last year and you're up 5, 6x, brilliant. But that traditionally hasn't been when we've seen the blow off tops. We don't normally see them until end of the summer next year. So hang on to your hats. Now, again, Sui is up to $2. It's up 20% today. I like Sui. I like the people behind it. I've said this before many times. However, when FOMO kicks in and prices start to go above and beyond where I think the price should go, then I think you need to maybe hold if you've already got Sui, or don't keep buying into it, because I do think there'll be a retracement on Sui. Any other coins that pump, I know that one of the, is it MOG, one of the other meme coins is pumping as well. I'd be very careful. FTT I wouldn't touch, that's been pumping recently. Just be careful. If you've got a plan to dollar cost average into Sui, and that plan's been in action for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you've got 3 or 4 weeks left to DCA in, fine. But don't go out and buy it at $2, $2.50. I do think it'll come back down to about 140, 150. Now that's a really good price for Sui, but we've seen it so many times. We've shown you so many examples of coins that have pumped to the upside and then retraced 30, 40%. So just be careful, that's all I'm saying. Now, I am going to try and keep an eye on chat. Any thoughts on Casper slightly dipping? Apparently, founder comments. Okay, well, again, depending on what the comments are, and depending on whether it's going to long-term damage Casper, is what I would say. Now, if somebody comes out, here's a good example. There was a jewelry store in the UK, and I think it was called Ratner's, if I'm not mistaken. And the founder came out and basically said, all of our jewelry is crap. And the company disappeared. It didn't last much longer. A couple of years later, it was gone out of business. That's a fundamental flaw. Others, you've seen Bud Light, and they've had issues. You've seen other issues where companies have tried to go down the DEI route, and there's been backlash. It's cost them millions, if not billions of dollars, but they will recover. Then you have an issue where you might have the founder of a company saying something stupid or saying something that shouldn't be said outside of the confines of his own home, and that will cause a spike to the downside. But there's no real cancel culture in crypto as such, and I don't think it will have a long-term effect. Remember, we talk a lot about emotional trading, and emotional trading is when something happens that isn't directly connected to the stock, the share, or the crypto that you're in. And I've said this story before about Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce lost a contract with, I can't say the name of the country, but a certain country, and it was worth 0.9% or 1% of the revenue of Rolls-Royce. Okay, not 1% of the profit, by the way, but 1% of the revenue. And their share price came down 40%. Now, losing 1% of the value of your company and then losing maybe 0.75% off your bottom line can be seen two ways. One, it's a sign of a terminal decline in Rolls-Royce, or two, it's the sign that they lost a contract to a cheaper provider, which is what they did. And again, the price drops 40%. I think it might have even come down over time, maybe even 45, 50%. And guess what happened? The price is now higher than it ever was. Casper, or any other top 20, top 40 coin that has a kind of an emotional reaction, can be a good time to buy a coin. If the coin is hacked, if the chain is hacked, if there's a 51% attack, if there's a phishing attack or a social attack on the founders and millions of the tokens are dumped on the market, that's different. That's going to cause a problem, a long-term problem for that chain, because the trust will be lost. Somebody saying something about a conflict is not directly related to the functioning of that coin. So I would use that as an opportunity to buy. I know you shouldn't, whether you agree with the sentiment or not, if the price comes down 10, 5, 15% and you think it's a strong hold, you go and buy it. That's my non-financial advice. Now then, sentiment. Keep an eye on the following crypto projects seeing major boosts in whale transactions in the past week. Now, the Kronos chain and Crow, they are running a competition which is to do with bridging your ETH to the new Kronos ZK chain, and they're running a $100,000 campaign on that. So that'll be why they're up 255%. Aave on Optimism is up 100%. Athena, MakerDAO, Circle, Wrapped, Aave again. Again, what I would do, again, not financial advice, is I would look at the fact that number 3 stablecoin, number 4 stablecoin, number 5 stablecoin, I would at number 6 Wrapped ETH, I would remove them from your thinking about what are the whales buying, and I would look at Crow, I would look at Aave, I would look at Ton, IMX, and Arbitrum. Now, Arbitrum and Optimism, both solid chains, both layer 2s on Ethereum. Aave, everybody's now talking about Aave possibly having a really, really big run up. So Aave is possibly one out of this to take. The second one I would take out of this is Ton. Ton and Aave are not directly impacted by a competition to win $100,000. So Aave and Ton would be what I would take out of that. Again, not financial advice. Of course, not financial advice. Right then, moving on very quickly. We are probably going to run out of time today. I hope that answers your question, by the way, Packer. And thank you for popping in. I know you can't make it because it's some unearthly hour in the day over there. Now then, Matthew Highland, that I keep an eye on from time to time. Bitcoin is playing out identically to last year. Now, I would not take this as gospel. I do not think we are suddenly going to see a big green candle run off the top of the screen. But given that I think that we're going to go to 74,000, that is right in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So I think we could see north of 70,000 this month. And remember, if all goes to plan, by the end of the year, I would think we're going to be somewhere between 80 and 86,000. There's a lot of different ways to measure it. The cup and handle, there's a bull flag, some of the fib levels are up there. So I think if we can go into next year between 80 and 86,000, I think we could have a really good 2025. But again, the world is not a stable place right now, and we're going to need the orange man. We're going to need the orange man. That's what we need to come in and actually make a difference and cause stability. Now, I haven't included it, but by the way, but ChatGPT was asked what effect Kamala Harris, what effect Donald Trump would have on the price of Bitcoin. And I said this to you yesterday, very simply, Bitcoin doesn't care who the president of America is or the president of any other country, but the price does care. And I think with Trump, we're going to see higher than what I expect. If we get Kamala, we'll see probably what I expect, maybe 110,000, 125,000. In an ideal world, I'd like to see 200, 240,000, but you don't get what you want. You get what happens. So at the minute, until the election goes through, I think anywhere between 120 and 240,000 for the end of next year. 240,000 is wishful thinking. 120, 110,000 is diminishing returns. We're going to fall somewhere in the middle. High 100,000s would be fantastic. Low 100,000s would be a bit of a kick in the teeth. And on top of that, again, I don't know right now, a year out, how the alts are going to run. So they asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT gave some prices. Donald Trump will have a far more positive effect than Kamala Harris. I could have told you that. You don't need AI. Right then, Australia. This one is for the Aussies out there. Good morning, Tariq. I hope you are well. I'm not actually, you know what? I need to update my chat. I'm not seeing all the chat. CPI Thursday may move the market. Otherwise, it's a month to the election. Let's hope for Pumpa Lumpa. Looking like a tame post. Right to be angry. Nothing changed. I would buy the dip, and that's not financial advice. If we both walked into a shop and you wanted to buy a memory card, and they're normally $100, and you buy one a month, and suddenly it's on sale at $80, why would I not think it was a good idea for you to buy the memory card for $80 when you'd buy it for $100? That's the way I would look at it. The problem comes with buying the dip is when you buy the dip in the bear market. Because if Casper's at $1 now and it runs to $5 in the bull run, it's going to go to 50 cents in the bear market. So buying the dip from $5 down to 50 cents makes absolutely no sense. So the second this bull run is over, I am going to flip. And my advice will be to be very careful about buying any dip for a period of about a year and a half. But we're not in the bear market. We are in the bull market. So and technically the start of the bull market. We've had the we've had the accumulation. Now we are entering the bull market. But come January 2026, if you ask me the question about Casper, I'd say, where's the strength in the market to bring the price back up? Because we should have a year of downward action, then another 6 months of capitulation, and then we recover. So you have to play the market depending what element of the market you're in. Now we're in the beginning of the bull market. It would have been perfect for you to have packed your bags all the way up until now and then sit here on your hands and hopefully not do too much. But some people haven't finished. Buying Casper on a dip because the CEO said something is more than adequate. Who else is here? Tariq, good morning. I hope you are well. And remember, again, these are only my opinions. I tell you what I would do. Now, I don't hold Casper, so I have no say. I have no tricks up my sleeve as to why I'd want you to buy Casper. And I tell you, and I've done portfolio videos on YouTube showing you what I hold. So I am fully transparent. If I buy a token, I will tell you. I did buy a tiny bit of Maker when I made the video for the OGs. That's really been the last purchase I've made, and that was a month ago, 3 weeks ago. Now, for the Aussies out there, forget the numbers, okay? But in a month, well, no, actually, in 2 weeks, they have bought 22 Bitcoin. That is, for argument's sake, let's call it 2 a day. 2 a day. Now, 2 a day over a month is 60 a month. There are only 450 times 30 being produced a month, 450 Bitcoin a day. This is one country and this is one ETF buying these Bitcoins. 1 Bitcoin a day being bought by these is 1 out of 450. If BlackRock go and buy 500 Bitcoin a day, if Grayscale, if ARK Invest, if the UK ETPs, if the Asian markets, if they're all buying 1, 5, 10, 50, 100 Bitcoin a day, guess what? We are going to run out of Bitcoin. And that is, you see these YouTube videos, you know, Bitcoin's going to $1 million, we're all going to be rich, Bitcoin's going to $100 million. They're all clickbait titles. But the one title that is not a clickbait is, we don't have enough Bitcoin. And there's always these things. People say to you, well, if I was to ask you if you had enough Bitcoin, what would you say? The answer should always be, I do not have enough Bitcoin. Now, an interesting post, which is slightly irrelevant to this today, but there was a guy who put up how many Bitcoin you should hold at your age. And it was quite an interesting one. So at 20, you should look to hold 0.1 Bitcoin, which today's price is $6,200. If you're, I can't remember if it was 30 or 40, you should hold 1 Bitcoin. That's 62,000, obviously. Now, unfortunately for me, at my age, because I've just turned 50, I should be holding 10 Bitcoin. I don't hold 10 Bitcoin. I could, but I don't. But it's to do with your investment horizon, and that's a really good way. That's a really good example of how to explain an investment horizon to you. A 20-year-old can hold that 0.1 Bitcoin for a period of 30 years. And at the end of those 30 years, you don't know, Bitcoin could be worth $100 million. And then he would have $10 million in the bank. Take away inflation, that would still be $2.5 million in 30 years' time. If you look at somebody who's 30 or 40, they might want to retire in 10 or 15 years' time. That 1 Bitcoin could very well be worth 2 million, in real terms in that time. Me, at my old, decrepit, wrinkly age, I haven't got the luxury of holding it for 30 years. So I would have to hold it for a period of maybe 5 to 10 years. That would still hopefully be worth $5-6 million. So it's a good way of understanding your investment horizon. Don't think, if you're out there watching this and you're 21 years of age, don't think you should have 20 Bitcoin. You should look to accumulate sats, 5,000 sats a week, 10,000 sats a month, whatever the number is. Accumulate your sats now, because it's the only surefire crypto asset in existence that is likely to be here, excluding black swans, in 20-30 years time. So just bear that in mind, and don't compare your race to anybody else's. Okay, my race, Kishan's race, Mags's race, we are all in the same boat. Kishan might have 100 Bitcoin, Mags might have 20 Bitcoin, I might have 1 Bitcoin, but it doesn't matter. You're not competing with other people. Don't get green-eyed envy because somebody's been in crypto for 20 years and has all the XRP Bitcoin in the world. It doesn't happen. Now then, something interesting for you. Phantom is introducing support for Base. We talk a lot about having a kind of unification of all the blockchains, bringing them all together so they all have interoperability, it's called. They're all connected together. And one of the ways to do that is through wallets. Now, MetaMask is awful, okay? We ran a Chronos giveaway last week, and we had tokens that we sent to the winners. And I think Mimi won, I think Mags and a few of you guys won. Some people who won, I sent them the coins, they couldn't see them in their wallet because MetaMask didn't show them. It's a problem with MetaMask. Phantom would have shown those tokens. It might have showed it grayed out, so you couldn't actually see the value, which is fine, but it would still show the tokens in Phantom. And that's my massive problem with MetaMask. They've been around for so long. They have had all this time to fix these stupid mistakes. So for me, Phantom's one of my favorite wallets. Adding support for Base, I think, is an indication of where they think the bull run is going to go. And I think they expect the number of people being onboarded to Base to be absolutely massive. So they've picked their horse. I don't think Base is a bad shout either. It doesn't have its own native token. It's not like Solana or Cardano, but it does have tokens on there. Aero, Solid, Dex. It has Brett, one of my 3 picks for the bull run. It's good. I am also going to make a video, by the way, about cats versus dogs. It's a big thing at the minute on the internet. Cat memes versus dog memes. And there's a really good post, which I'm basically going to lift and put into a video talking about whether you should look at cat memes over dog memes, because dog memes have reached certain sizes. Now, I've kind of been saying this in a roundabout way. I've picked 3 coins for the bull run. I've picked Popcat, I've picked Mew, and I've picked Brett. Well, Popcat and Mew are both cats. Why have I done that? Because they're wholly undervalued. If I compare a cat meme with a dog meme, the cat meme is a quarter or a fifth of the price for no reason. So the arguments made in this post were very, very understandable. You have to understand Asia is more of a cat than a dog country. America is more dog than cat. So I think we've had a dog-led meme season. I think it's now time for the cats. Right then, market dominance of altcoins. This has been following the last cycle's playbook pretty accurately. If last cycle was any indication for what's to come, altcoin dominance should be bottomed and starting to rise again into 2025 and beyond until a top is formed later that year. So again, end of the bull run. I have said all along, October, November next year. Many more bigger, more intelligent streamers have been changing their minds. They've been saying April, they've been saying May, they've been saying July, and now all of them are saying October or November. I didn't change. I stuck with October or November. I did say as well, by the way, there could be a double top, maybe one in April, May, then another one in in October, November. And remember, Trump comes in February. If in March he goes to the SEC, drops all the court cases against XRP, make sure that Solana gets its ETF, XRP gets an ETF, we're going to have one hell of a bull run, okay? Maybe we rip up April, May, then we're going to have the summer lull that we had this year, then we're going to rip again in October. So again, alts, don't listen to the Bitcoin maxis telling you that you should just hold Bitcoin until the right time and then go and buy your altcoins. Not everybody can spend every day on the internet looking at crypto. So build your bags, the coins you like, and stick with them. Now, the one thing I want to highlight here is the types of coins which have been liquidated. And normally I come on here and say, you know, $220 million, it's not a great deal at the end of the day, is it? 220 million, the other day we crashed, it was 200 million. It's not the volume that's the problem. But if we look at the 1 hour, for example, and you look at some of these coins that have been liquidated, Doge, Mudeng, Turbo, Potcat, Mew, they're the meme coins. What happened yesterday? Every meme coin under the sun pumped 5, 10, 15, 25%. Today, they're all getting liquidated. Pepe's in there as well. So you've got to be careful. Longing and shorting in crypto is not something that you should do unless you are very, very good at it. And if you do it with 5x leverage. If you've been in crypto for a while, fine. Go after the 10, 25x's. But if you're beginning, don't look at leverage. It's a really bad way and a really easy way to lose your money. So the interesting thing here is not the liquidations of Bitcoin and Ethereum today. It's the fact that so many of the meme coins have been liquidated today over most time frames. Pepe's there again, Mew is there, SHIB. They're all being liquidated. So just be careful, just be careful. Now, we are half an hour into the stream and we haven't even got to the articles. I'm going to skip any more charts until we get to Bitcoin, and then we're going to go through Bitcoin. I am just keeping my eye on the video as well to make sure I don't start to lag too much. You can still see me and still hear me. Bitcoin rally to 64.4 provides bullish chart pattern is locked in. The rally above 64 reinforced a recent established trend and locked in a bullish pattern of higher price lows. This is the thing I do not agree with. And the Oracle doesn't agree with it either. So the poll of the day, by the way, is are we going back to 59,000? Funnily enough, that's the price in here. We've had some votes. 64% of you have said we're going to 59,000 and 36% of you have said no, we're not. So again, nobody knows, do they? Nobody knows. You can only go off the group, and hopefully we don't go down to 59. But as Packer pointed out, we do have CPI on Thursday. That's going to cause volatility. Don't trade on Thursday unless the prices absolutely crash to the downside, and then pick up a few more of your favorite coins. Now, we're going to skip past a lot of this. Let's get to the higher low. Gel, a crypto analyst, believes that Bitcoin's recent recovery confirms a strong bullish pattern. When Bitcoin moved above 65,000 at the end of September, it formed the first higher high pattern in 5 months. This I don't agree with. A higher low confirmation is key for the uptrend, which the analyst believes is currently locked in after Bitcoin retested key resistance. Now, on this chart here, the first higher low and the higher low, I absolutely agree with. We have put in a higher low. I agree with that. What I don't agree with is this higher high here. And I'm going to show you on the chart why in a second. Bitcoin's current price action closely mirrors last year's, around this time, a fake death cross followed by a golden cross that triggered a 145% rally. Again, 145% rally from here would be what? $120,000, $150,000 Bitcoin. You're seeing people calling for that. Please, we're not going to $150,000. It's not going to happen, not in the time frame that we've got. There was mitigating circumstances last year, which was the hype around the ETF that inflated the market. But going from 30 to 60,000 is a lot easier than going from 60 to 90,000, even though it only sounds like it's going up $30,000 more. The market cap, which all of these wonderful experts in charts fail to point out to you, if you have a $1 trillion asset and it goes up 30%, that's $300 billion of value added. If you have a $100 million asset, to move it that same 30% in price only needs $30 million. There's a huge difference. Bitcoin, to go up from 700 billion, to a trillion, is 300 billion. Okay, but that is almost a 50% pump. To do a 50% pump from where we are now would take 600 billion. It's not the same. The chart patterns, yes, I get it. And when we have scarcity kicking in, yes, we're going to see absolutely massive spikes in the price of Bitcoin, but we're not there yet. So be very careful listening to people telling you that we're going to be at $150,000 by the end of the year and then $450,000 by the end of next year. That requires mitigating circumstances, not just chart action. So we can go on very quickly to have a look at the charts. And believe you me, if you want to comment or throw in some counter arguments to that, drop them into chat. I am more than happy. We don't ban people over here, although we have turned off one of the chats today because it is spammed to death. So we do not allow certain places to chat. Now, I did say that I looked at this chart before the stream because I wanted to draw another line. Now, let me very quickly show you this top line down here. Shows you all of the prices that I consider to be lower highs. Okay, and it does go back 6 months. That is accurate. And the argument is that this fell into the same lower high. I don't think it did. We covered it yesterday. I'm not going to cover it again today. We don't need to worry about that. What I will say is that we have to break 68,000. Then we need to break 70,000. Then we need to break 72 on our way to 74,000. Now, you have all agreed in chat so far, 2/3 of you agreed, that we could go to 59,000 from here. And you very well could be right. But look what happened. Yesterday we said we're above the bull market support band. We need to hold it or we're going to fall down again. Okay, we did. Where did we fall down to? We fell down to the midpoint. 61.3 is the bottom of the bull market support band. 62.7 is the top of the bull market support band. So what comes in the middle? 62,000 comes in the middle. And if you look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, we have jiggled about between 62 and 62.7 and 62 and 61.3, okay, since we got back into it. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get back above it and we need to go in that direction. And as Packer has pointed out, it's CPI day in 2 days. So I think we are good if we hold this. We are also good if we hold this, and we can rattle around in that area for the next day and a half until the CPI data comes out, and then we can see where we go. But what is interesting, and what I was saying to you at the start, was that we have used this midpoint as support. We have found resistance at 63,000. Let's be clear. We have 3 candles that wicked up to 62.8, and we've fallen back down. So we found 63 as resistance, but we're finding 62 as some level of support. That's a very narrow band to be sitting in my opinion. So I think we'll break. I think we're going to move to the upside today. I think we found support, and now I think we're going to move to the upside. And I think we'll break back above the bull market support band up here today. But if we don't, and we spend the next 2 days sitting here, nobody else cares either, because the CPI data is going to come in good. Listen, it's an election in 4 weeks' time. The economy has to look strong because Kamala is trying to win this election. And according to various different reports, she is 10 points behind. She is 12 points behind. She is so far behind on all of the charts that they read that she cannot have a poor CPI, a poor jobs report, a poor inflation rate. She cannot have that happen in October. So whatever you think is going to happen, they are going to fudge these numbers on Thursday. And it is going to be better than expected or as expected, whichever one she prefers. Because let's not make any bones about this. She's going to try and win this election. Let's have a look. My guess, 60 to 66k in between in the next week. That's a good shout as well. Again, I think if we can hold above 61, that is brilliant for me. We get below the bull market support band, it's just hard to break back up. And that's my issue. You can spend a few weeks down there. We're in Pumptober, Uptober, whatever you want to call it, FOMO-tober. We should see, in theory, a 20% move this month to the upside. So we should be clear of 70,000 this month. We're already on the 8th of October, 23 days to go, 23 days to make a 20% move. What I think will happen is they will try and spark that pump with anything. It will be like you've got a dry forest. How does a forest fire start? It could be anything. It could be a dropped cigarette. It could be somebody stubbing their toe on a piece of flint. That's what I think is going to kick off this next move up, this next leg up. It's going to be something innocuous, a CPI figure, an unemployment figure, an inflation figure. Something's going to come out, and that's going to be used as the catalyst to start the move up. And again, it could happen today, tomorrow, Thursday. It might not happen till next week. It's going to happen. Always happens in October. Unless we go against 14 years of history, we're going to have a good month. The only time we had a slightly bad time was the last election with Biden. That's the last time we had a bad one. Before that, every other election has had a good pump. Now, this Ethereum proposal could increase throughput by 50%. EIP 7781 would reduce slot times to 8 seconds from 12 and has already earned some key supporters. Again, Ethereum doesn't have to be the fastest. Okay, it's never going to compete with the likes of Solana ever. It doesn't have to. It has its layer 2s. It has Arbitrum, Optimism. It has Matic, Polygon, whatever you want to call it these days, Pol. It has these different chains to do different things for it. So it doesn't have to be the fastest, but it still has to cope. If we 100x the volume going through Optimism, Arbitrum, and Matic alone, forget the other layer 2s. What do we do? Look at Base, another one, for example. What do we do when their roll-ups that they're putting through and their transactions that they're putting through? They're going to have to scale as well, yes, but Ethereum cannot sit still. So these changes will help Ethereum and the layer 2s as well. So the submission from Iliad Games co-founder Ben Adams follows early proposals by Vitalik. Ethereum has faced growing criticism. It's failed to scale. Very true. Drawbacks include the possibility that validators might need additional resources to support the higher throughput. So Ben Adams has said that he wants to reduce the slot times. The upgrade, officially designated, this would also ramp up the blockchain's capacity to handle blobs, which are dedicated data storage chambers used by the layer 2 networks to stash transaction records. The change would effectively increase the number of blobs per block time to 9 from 6, providing more space for layer 2s like ARB and Optimism. Absolutely. So let's read all of this. So Justin Drake noted that reducing block times to 8 seconds would make decentralized exchange platforms like Uniswap 1.22 times more efficient. The change could then help close price gaps between on-chain and off-chain trading venues, saving users $100 million a year. Vitalik proposed in January to increase the blockchain's gas limit. EIP 7781 would be tantamount to effectively increase to a 45 million gas limit and a 9 bob limit. Now again, we don't want to get too technical on here. I understand the majority of people on here are interested, but don't want to know the ins and outs. Basically, you cannot hand over all of the responsibility to your layer 2s to process the transactions. Ethereum still has to work. It still has to process and it still has to improve. It's making the highest fees of any blockchain, only behind stable coins like Tether and Circle. Now, if we go and have a look at the Ethereum chart, we were just talking a minute ago about Bitcoin being in its bull market support band. Look where Ethereum is. Ethereum is not just outside of the bull market support band, it's fallen below these ranges. Now, we've got a very slopey decline down here. Okay, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. What people will point out potentially is this, that since the beginning of September, we have been putting in higher lows, and that is a solid argument. But we have been rejected off this fictitious line. Now, bear in mind, these are range lines. These are just drawn by me. There's no significance outside of me drawing them, but it's acted as support here and resistance here. So what does that mean for Ethereum? It means Ethereum is stuck in the doldrums. That can come down here. To break back, we're going to have to get to 2,700 to get anywhere near. I mean, look at where the white line was drawn for the bull market support band. To get back into the bull market support band, we need to move up. What's that, 15%? We need a 15% move in Ethereum. Now, we are talking about October. We are talking about Bitcoin doing 20% in October. So although Ethereum could lag behind, as the alts will do as well, it wouldn't surprise me if we take this 12th over here, we move that to about there. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw over the course of October something like that. Because even though Ethereum might not keep pace with Bitcoin, it's still going to go up in monetary terms. Bitcoin can go up 20% and Ethereum can go up 15%. Ethereum is still losing value against Bitcoin, but both of them are gaining value against the dollar. So I think 2,000, what's this target up here? I think $3,000 by November is a perfectly solid target. That's a 20% pump-ish. So I think that's where we could go for Ethereum. I think, remember, one of the main reasons we've had this slump is the post-ETF hangover from Grayscale. That's been one of the big things. They have just pumped Ethereum out on a daily basis pretty much since it started. And one of the videos I made about the Solana ETF has said the same thing. If a Solana ETF goes live in April or May next year, there's a good chance that Solana's price falls because Grayscale will just kill it. Now, I can't guarantee that. What happened when the Bitcoin ETF went live? Grayscale dumped on it. What happened when the Ethereum ETF went live? Grayscale dumped on it again. Even though I said I don't think they will because it's at parity, they dumped again. So the Solana ETF goes live. Let's say it goes live next June. What do we think is going to happen to the price of Solana? It's going to get dumped. So would it be in Solana's best interest to not have an ETF next year and have the ETF start the following March 2026? Because that would make more sense to me. Same with XRP. We put an XRP ETF live next year. It's going to dump the price. And it's not for the want of trying by the likes of BlackRock and Van Eck and ARK. They're buying all the Bitcoin. It's just Grayscale. They're dumping constantly because their fees are so much higher. And you're seeing money go out of Grayscale, and you're seeing some of the money coming back into BlackRock, but not all of it. So it's having a detrimental effect. So I think Ethereum is going to come up. And again, I think it's going to be a Tinder style event. It's going to be a piece of news that isn't super relevant that's going to rip Ethereum to the upside. It's going to be something like Ethereum has just passed 10 trillion in volume and it's cutting its fees by 25%. And that will just cause a huge rip to the upside. Again, Ethereum is slightly deflationary. There's only 120 million of them. And that's not a lot to go around. And you've got eigenlayers, you've got the likes of Lido with their liquid staking, locking up a lot of Ethereum. You've got BlackRock locking up a lot of Ethereum. I'm not saying we're going to have the same supply shock that we've had with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, but over time, we could see appreciation in value. I think Ethereum is undervalued right now. Now, Solana sees private funding surge to 173 million in Q3 2024, highest in 2 years. Again, why is this important? Because this is fresh money coming in. Fresh money, new money coming in. And we haven't seen this in quite a long time. And I normally bring these up from time to time to show you what money is coming into what. It's normally Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana anyway. September alone, so 103 million come in. And this is the value of money coming into the projects in the ecosystem in that quarter. So you can see this quarter has spiked higher than anything in the last 7 quarters. It's a good sign. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. Some probably will be mentioned in here and lots of other reasons. We don't need to talk about the resurgence and FTX. That is totally irrelevant. The funding surge also illuminates a common pattern in the crypto world. VCs follow trends and FOMO rather than recognizing value early. With higher valuations, funding rounds are now oversubscribed. That's a positive thing as well. And again, we don't need to read any more about this. The growing mindshare is drawing a sea of new projects looking to move to Solana blockchain. My DMs are flooded with founders wanting to move from ETH and Base to Solana. Now again, this makes no sense. A lot of projects don't need to move. Why would you move your project from ETH and Base to Solana? Why would you not have your project on ETH, on Base, and on Solana? Because that would be the wise move for me. If I was going to start a blockchain solution today, what would I run it on? I would run it on Base and I would run it on Solana. Why Base? Because hundreds of millions of people are going to come through Base. Why Solana? Because it's the retail choice. Look at some of the names we've talked about on here in the last few weeks. We talked about Franklin Templeton. We've talked about PayPal. We talked about BlackRock's build projects being offered via, begins with a D, Ondo are in touch. Can't remember the name of them now. They're moving to, or they're not moving, sorry, they're opening up new avenues on Solana. Of course, that's what's going to happen. You should have a project and it should be multi-chain because that is where you can tap into the most markets. You look at the likes of Uniswap or WolfSwap or any of these other dexes. What do? They're on multi-chains. They're on the smart chain. They're on Ethereum. They're on Polygon. They're on Base. They're everywhere because that's where the customers are. If you have a product that you want to sell, do you just sell it from your shop? Do you just have a little box in your shop that has your products in? Or do you try and sell it through newspapers? Do you try and sell it through the internet? Do you try and sell it through radio and TV advertising? Do you find all of the different avenues to attract different customers? Of course you do. So you need to be multi-chain. That's the future. But Solana is still where all the retail, all the degens are. Don't think we've got enough time to look at the charts. Very quickly look at Cardano. We are going to run out of time today, I think. Let me check the messages while this loads. October. I hope it's October. I hope we see October. I really do. I've been talking about 59, 58, 62, $64,000 Bitcoin, and it's driving me crazy. It's all we ever talk about. We talk about how much the ETFs are buying on a weekly basis. The price doesn't move. We talk about all the new people getting involved with crypto. Mark Draper, or whatever, Tim Draper, sorry, selling off his stock. People thinking he's buying Bitcoin. It doesn't move the price. Elon Musk doesn't move the price. Nothing moves the price because there are mitigating circumstances as to why the price hasn't gone up, which we've covered on here. The miners, Grayscale. 1 million Bitcoin by Halloween will be with the ETFs from April. That's what? Not April, sorry, January. So in 12 months, they've accumulated 1 million Bitcoin, which is 5% of the total supply that will ever exist because Satoshi's is gone. So they will have 1 in 20 Bitcoin in year 1. Now, if in year 2 they only acquire 500,000 Bitcoin, they will have 1.5 million Bitcoin by the end of next year. If they only acquire 300, 200, 100,000 over the next few years, they will have 2.1 million Bitcoin. We don't have enough Bitcoin, and yet the price hasn't moved. It's crazy. Charles Hoskinson asserts ADA's growth is just the beginning, teases up-and-coming Cardano 2. Again, Charles, one of the good guys. Doesn't necessarily say the right things all the time, but still one of the good guys. One of the guys that I like to watch. I'm going to look at what Eugene said in a second. In a video over the weekend, he expressed excitement for the future. I do believe Cardano will become the largest cryptocurrency ecosystem in the world. It will take time and collective effort. We've had years, Charles, for you to do this, and I'm not running out of hope for Cardano. I think it's going to be a great project, but he is moving at a snail's pace. The optimism comes on the heels of advancements including Midnight, the data privacy focused sidechain. Midnight leverages ZK cryptography to balance privacy with blockchain transparency. He has hinted at even bigger changes. There's already a lot of talk about a new version of the node. According to Hoskinson, this new network architecture might shift to a more polyglot nature, moving away from heavy reliance on Haskell and towards a design incorporating diverse programming languages for greater flexibility. Again, no chain is without problems. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, Solana, they've all got their own problems, and their maxis love pointing out the fault of other blockchains without trying to solve the problems of their own. Charles and Cardano have been slow building. Very simple. The likes of Solana have been quick to build with a few problems along the way, notably that it can get flooded with bots. That got fixed. There's been downtime. That's got fixed. Fake transactions. That's kind of not been fixed, but some of the reasons why are there. So everything is without, nothing is without sin. Charles then had a little pop at Ethereum. What's ironic is that Ethereum is desperately trying to be Cardano. We know why. Cardano's commitment to decentralization ensures that the platform evolves to protect its long-term vision. Cardano chose the road because it's a real cryptocurrency. Now again, we know Vitalik has said that Cardano has a better proof-of-stake system, and we know that Vitalik has said that he wants to copy elements of the Cardano proof-of-stake system and implement it into Ethereum. The problem with Vitalik is I think he has been naive. And he's naive because he shouldn't be the head of Ethereum. He's not the right person to be the head of Ethereum. As far as technicals go, he is a genius. I've said this before. But he is not the right man to be in charge of a project like Ethereum. It needs a roadmap. It needs an understanding of what it wants to be. We know it's huge, but so was IBM. And look where they are. They're no longer one of the top companies in the world, and they're owned by China. Ethereum could end up going that way. It's probably not going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years, but it could end up being a poorly used chain. So there needs to be changes for me in Ethereum. And I can't put my finger on what the problem is, but I think the problem is Vitalik. if I was to sum up all the problems with Ethereum, they would be summed up into Vitalik. Vitalik is an academic and a genius, but he's also naive because he doesn't understand, in my opinion, he doesn't understand the way that people can corrupt the way things are built. And he's reactive to that. Charles isn't naive, and he does things the right way. They're just so much slower. That's the problem between the two of them. But Charles is a better CEO, if you want to call them that, than Vitalik. And yes, before you point it out, Vitalik isn't the CEO of Ethereum, and Charles isn't the CEO of Cardano, but that's the closest head title I could give them for you to understand. They are both leading the projects, whether that be legally or any other way. That's the way it works. Now, Cardano's price is in the red zone. We haven't looked at it for a while. It's at 35 cents. And we are below the bull market support band. Do we have, should we just drag this across like that? There we go. Right, we are under this fib level. We are under the bull market support band. What do we do now? Well, for me, I think Cardano is doing what every other crypto is doing, and that is waiting for Bitcoin to make a move. And that's what I think. Cardano is no different. It was in this downward channel. It's now come out of this downward channel, and it's kind of now in this kind of channel. But there are green shoots, very similar to the green shoots on Ethereum, and that we're putting in higher lows. Even though we're putting in lower highs, we're putting in higher lows. So I don't think it's all bad news for Cardano. And remember, I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to $25 for Cardano. Never going to be on the cards. I think a solid $5 for Cardano would be outstanding for this bull run. $3, $5, $7, no more. Don't listen to anybody telling you it's going to go to $30 in this bull run. Absolutely ridiculous. Not going to happen. $3 to $5. And again, what's going to happen next year is there will be a narrative for a lot of different chains, and you need to be prepared for this. Sui is going to be the greatest blockchain by that. Solana is going to be the greatest blockchain by that. Cardano is criminally undervalued for what TVL it's got and proof of stake by that. Ethereum is undervalued, it should be $15,000 gone by that. There will be narratives every single week on this channel that we will cover and try and point out what they're doing. They will try and funnel you into all the blockchains one at a time in the bull run to pump the bags. It happened last time. It's going to happen again. And Cardano, you just need to be ready for that pump. Okay? If you look back over the annals of time to the price pump, if we can just get this small enough to see, look at that candle. When did that candle start? 26th of July. Let's say it's the 30th of August. What's that? 5 weeks. So it took 5 weeks to move from 130 to 310. 5 weeks. So when we talk about getting out, you don't have to get out on the day or even in the week. You have a long period of time to sell. And what you do, and again, we're going to make a video about this or a live stream, we've said this before, is you try and dollar cost average. Oh my God, my writing on this new mouse is ridiculous. You try and dollar cost average out of that. That's what you try and do. And then the price goes higher, you keep following it, you eventually sell, and even if you get an average price of $2.25, who cares? You bought it at 35 cents. You sell it for $2.25, you've 7x'd. I mean, you've 7x'd your money in 12 months. I don't know what people expect at this stage of the cycle, but that for me is a solid run. Now, it's gone 12 o'clock. I'm only going to do one more article because I've really overrun, and for some reason I've just decided to talk today. Haven't followed the news. Don't know why. Let me very quickly have a quick look at chat. I am seeing chat on the board, but I'm not seeing it in my chat. What if they pull the rug on Trump and reveal the true state of the economy? They're never going to do that, Eugene. Never going to do that. They are absolutely hell-bent on winning the election, as is Donald Trump, of course. They're both hell-bent on winning the election. You have to understand, I'm not going to go on about it too much. Many years ago, the Bank of England was separated from the UK government. Before it was separated, before an election, the UK government would cut interest rates and pump money into the economy. And because they're the government, they look really good. And they look like they're the people to vote for. So they were using the Bank of England as a political tool to win the election. They then, I don't know whether it was Labour or the Conservatives, they brought out a policy which separated the Bank of England from the government. The Bank of England can comment on the economy, and the UK government can comment on the economy. Of course they can. But the Bank of England is independent and it makes its own decisions. And there is a whole raft of people in the Bank of England that have checks and balances and make sure that there isn't a left or right wing dominance in the Bank of England. Now, nothing is without allegiances, we know that. But the Bank of England, of every institution I've seen in America and England, it's one of the most apolitical things I've seen. Now, in America, you've got the Fed, private organisation, changes the interest rates when it wants to, pumps money into the economy when it wants to. However, there is a direct line between the president and Chairman Powell. The same way there's a direct line between the president and the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler. Now, the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, is directly under Biden, whereas Powell isn't. He's to the side. But believe you me, the economics, the figures, the statistics coming out of America, they are all politically slanted. Listen, they went to Wikipedia. Americans went to Wikipedia and changed the definition of a recession. Okay? So if they are willing to change the definition of a recession, they're going to fudge the figures to look really good. So believe you me, everything we see for the next 5 weeks is all going to be massively positive. Now, the last thing I'm going to cover very quickly, Epic wants Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox to become interoperable metaverse. I have been saying this all along. Bin Sandbox, bin Decentraland. Don't hold these metaverse tokens. They've had forever to build and they've done nothing. They are garbage, okay? Absolute garbage. Now, I'm going to preface this with a fact. Everything's going to pump in the bull run. But just because it pumps, it's still garbage. If you see sand and it's 50 cents, and you think, well, that's going to go to $5, and you buy it and it goes to $5, great, you've 10x your money. I'm very happy for you. It's crap. It's a crap system. This is the future. Grand Theft Auto, Epic Games, Ubisoft, which I don't think is going to exist in 12 months' time because they've gone woke, they are going to bring crypto to gamers. We've been trying to bring gamers to crypto with no reasons to come because the games, apart from a few, are crap. Okay? Star Atlas is a hope. It's not built yet. Earth from Under the Sun is a hope. Yeah. Neon Heroes looks fantastic. It needs adoption. Okay? I covered W3GG 2-3 weeks ago. It's trying to be the Epic Games of Web3. Big hopes for that. But hopes and reality are different things. You can't go to the supermarket with hope and buy your groceries. This is a fact. Epic Games are going to bring a metaverse built on Unreal 6. Now, they're going to build a metaverse. It doesn't mean it's going to come to crypto. They're going to build a metaverse. Okay? Isn't this what we want? Of course it is. So they want to create their own system. They want to build all the games into their system. I don't know if you've seen Unreal Engine 5.5 or 5. Or 6, whatever. It's outstanding. Okay? You couple this with NPCs running on AI and you've got a whole world of new games. They're trying to do it as fast as humanly possible. The whole thesis here is that players are gravitating towards games which they can play together with all of their friends. Players are spending more on digital items in games that they trust and they're going to play for a long time. Again, this is huge. If you want to back a winning horse, in my opinion, you go and back Grand Theft Auto. Is it Riot Games? I think. Go and back them. Go and back Epic. They are the two winning horses at this moment in time. Everything else has gone woke. Assassin's Creed is woke. Star Wars is crap and it's gone woke. All of the games that have come out have gone woke. The other solution is, of course, you look at the Chinese game developers. They've brought out that new game, which is absolutely outstanding, but again, it's not metaverse driven. This is where you want to look for metaverse stroke crypto stroke Web3, attracting the next 500 million players. It's going to be something like Epic Games and Fortnite. And as I said to you 1,000 times before, people are going to play games and not realize they are using the blockchain. The same way your granny uses Facebook and doesn't know how the internet works. This is where it's going to go. And you'll harp on about Bitcoin and you'll harp on about IMX and you'll harp on about all of these things to your granny and she won't care. And if she's playing Fortnite and she wins a skin and she sells it for $20, she doesn't care if it's a blockchain transaction. That's where we want to get to. We're not there yet. Anyway, that is enough from me. I have rattled on way past my time. It's 10 past 12. I've got to go. Thanks, everybody. I am back tomorrow. Oh, before we go, one last thing. I need to cut some streams. If you are watching, don't go anywhere. Hang on 1 second. To the rest of you, I will see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. 1 second. I just need to turn a couple of streams off. There we go. Okay. For those of you that are still here, don't forget, tomorrow night is this one key giveaway. We are giving this to an OG. Let me be very clear about this. If you are not an OG, if you do not subscribe on our YouTube channel as an OG, you are not going to win this prize. We are going to give away new on the stream as well. But this stream, the Oracle and myself went through this yesterday. We're going to talk about security. We're going to talk about hot wallets, cold storage. We're going to talk about centralized exchanges. We're going to talk about scams. We're going to talk about all of that on this stream. This is an educational stream. But at the end, one of the OGs, like Kishan, like Mags, they're going to win this. And the rest of you who are not OGs, you're going to win new. Okay? That's it. This is not going to be won by a random person that shows up on YouTube and types "awoo" in chat. It's going to be an OG, okay? Now, this is worth, I think, $90. It's not quite the biggest thing we've ever given away. We've given away, I think, $200 was our largest ever giveaway. But it's the first time we've ever given away a free physical item. So the first time we've ever sent anything to anybody in the post. So if Mags wins or Kishan wins or any one of the other OG wins, you're going to have to give us an address to send this to. And it can be your home address, fine, but it could also be an address of your office, where you work. We could send it to your school. I don't really care where we send it as long as you'll get it. And we'll try and send it recorded delivery so we can track it. But that's tomorrow night. Until then, thank you all for watching. See you soon. See you, Kishan. See you, Paka. See you, MD. See you, everybody else in chat. Take care.